Oh, yeah. Oh, man, how you guys going to recognize me? Oh, man. Hold on, man. I you know what? Let me grab my coffee here. Oh, I'm excited. This is going to be a great show. Week 9. NFL breakdown week 9. Yeah. Week 9. I'm pumped up, man. I hopefully we get some people who are going to come in. You get glasses, damn, my contacts are bothering me, but that's okay. That's okay. Man, I got a great show for you. I nailed Thursday night football. I had the Cardinals in 10 points. Anytime you get I'm generalizing. Anytime you get a home team and you get 10 points or more, you get double digits, and you're the home team, take it. Home dogs have won people a lot of money over the years, a lot of money. And I'm a fan of the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's a damn good team. But, yeah, you get a home team and you get over 10 points, even though the Dolphins have destroyed that several times during the year. But, yeah, we're going to break down week 9. I do have some news here. The Kansas City Chiefs, the following players are questionable. And I'm going to kind of repeat this several times here, but Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Kendall Fuller, and some guy, 15, likes ketchup on a steak. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'm playing Mahomes. All these are going to be game time decisions. When I originally started the show, or I said Tuesday, hey, you know what? I'll know more by this show. I don't. I just don't. So, Ooh, man, I am really jacked up today, man. I am super jacked up. But Monday, I'm releasing my video, 9th greatest Kansas City Chief of all time. So rest those Chiefs. Argo is in the house. What's up, brother? Well, hey, I'm going to post this here. By the way, we don't know who's going to play and who's not. You got the opinion of a lot of people out there, but I want to see these guys play, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Okafor is out. I really think that this offensive line is not good. I was watching the NFL Network before I started my show, and they were talking about how the Minnesota Vikings have made some changes. This has a lot to do with Gary Kubiak. He helped win some we got some great Argo content already, man. It's going to be a good show when you get some great comments already. Gary Kubiak, who won Super Bowls as a coach with the Denver Broncos, he's gone to Minnesota as a special assistant, and some of that zone read blocking scheme that he brought with him, they've translated. And what they're doing is, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to touch base on that here in a little bit. Here's the thing, is that they moved the pocket around. He's not a stationary target, Kirk Cousins. So I really think that Clark could have a big game. You're not looking at the same offensive line that you're looking at with the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers have really good tackles. I can't pronounce the left tackle's name, but he's probably one of the best left tackles in football. The Minnesota Vikings don't have that. Their offensive line's a weakness. So getting Chris Jones and Frank Clark back, just one of those guys. Personally, I'd love to have Chris Jones, because their center, Bradbury, one of my favorite players coming out of the draft, is a rookie, and he hasn't played great. But I really think that keep in mind, they are going to move the pocket around, but I don't want Cousins to get comfortable. Thielen's questionable. He's going to be a game-time decision. That's huge. If we don't have Fuller and they got both those wide receivers, I could see Minnesota winning this game, but I want to see all the Chiefs healthy. Hey, let's talk about Gordon now, Argo. He would not have been a good fit here in Kansas City, I don't think. And the reason why is that this is a very complex offense. It's really hard to get guys into this system. Maybe because he worked well in New England, he could have been good here. He, as far as I know, he's still not ready to play. He's not really ready to play. I don't know if he would be up to speed, but I would have liked him for 2020. I don't think he's good this year. And you could have him go deep. I don't think he's quite the deep threat that he was in Cleveland. He's more of a big body. I thought he went to the best possible team. I really did. And I think a guy like Pete Carroll is a good fit for him. I think in an offense as complex as Kansas City's, trying to integrate, Matt Moore, because there's a good chance he's going to play. I don't think that would have been a good fit. That's me personally. Then again, I watched Emmanuel Sanders have a huge impact. I don't know that a couple of years ago, I would have said, I don't know if he's the same guy. Keep in mind, he's coming off of an injury. So there may have been an issue medically, but I think Seattle's a real good place for him. If you think he's an upgrade over Robinson, then I would definitely. I don't know that he is. I also don't know if Robinson's going to be a Chief next year. That's something that I'm not really worried about now. But you are 100% correct. You are 100% correct. He went through the waiver wire, and I know Seattle likes reclamation projects. I know the Chiefs had to deal with the Tyreek Hill situation, but after the Kareem Hunt situation, excuse me, I'm not sure they're really going after players that have a lot of baggage. I also think that maybe that due to the fact that he asked his release from New England, that may have something to do with it. I don't know. I can't speak for the Chiefs organization. If you think he's better than DeMarcus Robinson, which I'm not sure he is, then the Chiefs could have got him. So I do think he's going to do good in Seattle, but Seattle has a pretty basic defense. They have more of a college style defense. You have to understand the Kansas City offense is extremely complex. It's not an offense that you can just come in and learn on the fly. That was a big reason that when Chad Henne went down, we brought in Matt Moore, because he didn't want Kyle Shermer, who's a young, promising quarterback. He didn't want him to be there because there's a lot going on in this offense. It's a really complex offense. So, but Seattle's just the opposite. Seattle's pretty basic. They rely on Russell Wilson quite a bit. So I don't know. I was not really thinking that Gordon would be a good fit here. I would have been excited, but I also don't think that he would have been able to do much except run that 9 route. And then, of course, that just allows for underneath for Kelsey. But, if you're asking him to go deep, I got a world-class guy in Tyreek Hill. I got Miracle Hardman, who ran a 4.33. I got those two guys. Who's the guy out of K-State? His name escapes me too. He's got some good deep speed, but it'll be interesting. I think he's going to do good in Seattle. I think Pete Carroll's a guy who's going to work really good with him. I think Pete Carroll has a good rapport with troubled players. It hasn't always worked. It hasn't always worked, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Very interesting, Argo, that you think that he's an improvement over D-Rob, DeMarcus Robinson. I find that really interesting. I'm not sure I agree with that, but very interesting. Again, we don't know about Pringle. That's right. Yeah, Pringle. He's a guy who I'm really high on too. Again, I'm going to say this again. Questionable. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Kendall Fuller, and of course, number 15. Mahomes. So all these guys are questionable. We won't know until Sunday. I was really hoping when I started this that we could have been talking about that. Of course, Adam Thielen is also questionable. I think that's huge because they have, I think, the best 1-2 combo in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings. So if you take one away, that really helps. The offensive line's not been doing well. Dalvin Cook is a monster. I really liked him coming out of Florida State. If he's healthy, they're a good team. The defense is, I think, better than Green Bay. Not a lot better. Going into the season, I thought they had maybe a top 5 defense. They're not. The defense has some holes. I watched Detroit do a lot of things. So I think that with Mahomes, even if he's at 75, 80%, I would expect at least 30. So, wow. I'm not sold on Green Bay. Not so. I think the Saints are easily the best team in the NFC. I think they're easily the best team. But I think they've been the best team in the NFC the last 2 years. I thought they were easily the best team last year. Here's the thing about Green Bay. When you got Aaron Rodgers, when he plays his A game, he's better than anybody when he plays his A game. But the problem is with Green Bay is that you need Rodgers to play an A game. If he doesn't play an A game against the Chiefs, do the Chiefs come back and win that game? Maybe. Right now, as much as I hate to say it, and I'll be at the game. I'm been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89, but right now I'd have to say New England's easily the best team in the AFC. The defense is just unreal. They have a great game. I'm going to kind of break that down here in a bit. So great prediction, man. Chiefs, Green Bay. I would love to see it. Wouldn't you love to see Mahomes? Coming back, yeah. I'll tell you this: with Mahomes and a healthy Chiefs roster, playing in the Super Bowl against Green Bay, I would see us winning. I really would. I really would. I would not fear Green Bay with a healthy roster. Speaking of healthy, one player I've overlooked, Sammy Watkins. He was kind of shaky. He could have a huge impact on this game. Could have a huge impact. Thursday night football, I went ahead and nailed. Don't forget, what the best part is about the Chiefs' schedule is, except for that game in Foxborough, the Mexico game's considered, I think a home game, if I remember right. But we're playing all of our division opponents at Arrowhead late in the season. The schedule really benefits Kansas City late in the year, except for that game in Foxborough, which, you have to understand, if we have all of our players healthy, I think we can give them a run for their money. I think we really could. But we've always played New England tough. New England's never just come in and blown us out. The games we played last year, we played them, wasn't it 43-40? If you're talking the Chargers game, it's in Mexico. I think it's counted technically as a home game, but it's in Mexico. I remember last year we were going to play the Rams in Mexico, but they had that weird fire, so they put us in the Chargers. There we play Foxborough. We play New England in Foxborough, but most of our games towards the end of the season are at Arrowhead. The schedule really benefits Kansas City. The problem is that I think we really need a win this week, because this week and then it's at Tennessee, and then the rest of the games except for New England are extremely winnable. This is probably our hardest game except for New England, because I think 4 out of our last 6 games are against divisional opponents. We have 8 games in Kansas City. Let me go through that real fast here, because I think, you know what, you may be right about that, because I saw that the NFL schedule was counting that as a home game for the Chiefs. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're right. Okay, they're counting it as a home game, but it's in Mexico, so but we're going to win that game. I'm telling you right now, I do not fear the Chargers. The Chargers have all sorts of the Chargers have a lot of problems with their offensive line, even more than Kansas City. Keenan Allen's been injured, so I don't think it matters. We could play them here, there, Mexico. We're going to win that game. So, bottom line, I think that this game without Mahomes will be our toughest game, except for New England. And I really want to see Mahomes, but what may be more important than Mahomes is that we need Frank Clark and Chris Jones healthy, because we're man, my phone's been blowing up today of all sorts of weird numbers, but one fried 40s in the house. Hey, listen, since I don't know if you've been tuned in or not, but here's the deal. Mahomes is questionable. He's a game time decision. But Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and Kendall Fuller are all questionable. I really think at least one of those guys has to play. Thielen's also questionable. But this is a very important game. I want to see Mahomes play. All right. I want to see Mahomes play because here's the way the schedule works is that we have a game after this. We go to at Tennessee, I'm going to talk about the Tennessee game here in just a bit. But except for that, we have New England. Then we have a bunch of division opponents, and we've been killing the AFC West. We really could run the table except for this New England game. So this game is really important to Kansas City. We really need our defensive line because the problem with Minnesota is that their offensive line and what they've been doing is moving the pocket around. And a lot of this has to do with Gary Kubiak and Gary Kubiak, longtime Broncos backup quarterback. So yeah, they've been doing some creative things. So getting our guys, our two best defensive linemen, Okafor is also out, is going to be really key. I'm not scared of the Vikings defense, even though it's a good defense. I think it's a little better than Green Bay's, but I don't think it's head and shoulders better. I really don't. I really think that our defensive line needs to play because we're already down Okafor. So we need either Chris Jones or Kendall Fuller or Frank Clark to play. Kendall Fuller is our number one corner, plays inside, outside. So I'm going to start breaking down some of these games here. Houston is playing Jacksonville in London. This is going to be a great game because Houston's 5-3. They lost J.J. Watt for the year. Jacksonville has a chance. Both these teams really have a chance to go up, especially Jacksonville. They're 2-4. They got rid of Ramsey. Now they got a chance to go 5-3. This is a huge game. They're both chasing Indianapolis, who's 5-2. So this is a huge game because the winner's got a good chance. That if you're the loser, especially if you're Jacksonville, you go 4-5. That's really tough. If you're Houston and you go 5-4, you're in a little better situation. But you of course you lost Indianapolis already, so you really don't want to fall behind too much. But listen, you guys are in for a treat because I'm giving you a prediction. Indianapolis at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to win this game. T.Y. Hilton is out. I think that's huge. They don't really have speed, so you're going to see Pittsburgh be able to put a lot in the box, force Brissett to throw the ball to win, become very one-dimensional. Pittsburgh's going to win this game. I'm telling you right now, watch out for the Steelers. Watch out for the Steelers. But you know what? I got another prediction. Are you guys ready for this? Hopefully you guys are sitting down. Man. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but hopefully that won't happen. I got Russell Wilson currently as my MVP, but are you ready for this prediction? Miami wins. They're at home. They play the Jets. They're going to win. They're going to win. Argo agrees with me. I'm playing. I'm telling you right now. So listen, Pittsburgh and Miami wins. I'm saying it now. I am saying it now. I know the Jets had a kind of a crazy week. Miami, I think, is playing decent. I think they win this game. I really do. I think Miami wins this game. I know. I've been saying they're going to win a game. I think they're going to win this one. They're at home. They're playing the Jets. The Jets had kind of a weird week. So, I've talked about this before. I don't think they're really trying to tank, but they got rid of a lot of players. They got a lot of draft picks. I really think that I don't like it when a team does this. Now, I saw this on ESPN that CBS Sports Line did their mock draft, and I'm going to be very clear. I don't think much of CBS Sports Line's mock drafts. I think I can do a better job myself. Actually, I'm telling you right now, I can do a better job because I follow other people besides CBS Sports Line. They got who I think is going to win Heisman Trophy, Joe Morrow. the LSU quarterback. They got him going number one. And that'll be interesting to see. There could be a lot of quarterbacks going in the first round. It's questionable if the Georgia kid, Jake Fromm, if he's going to come out. There's talks that he would go like number one. Georgia hasn't done that well. They have a big game against Florida. But is he going to stay in school for another year? Which he could. I mean, he may want to stay in school. Justin Herbert, I've heard mixed reviews about him. The kid out of Washington, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. Probably the most talented quarterback, but you never know. Jalen Hurts, of course. So there could be 5 or 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. The question is, with Miami, who do they like? And I'm not big on Tua, but I will say this. If you're going to tank next year so you can get Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson, that guy is going to be the number one pick, and he's going his upside is going to be higher than any quarterback in this draft, and it's probably not even going to be close. Trevor Lawrence to me is going to be right up there with Andrew Luck and John Elway. I mean, this guy, he's 6'6", he's like 220, 225. He can run. I think he's got better arm. There's a chance, as a freshman, won a national championship at Clemson. Clemson right now is in the running to win the national championship this year. If you're going to tank next year, get this Trevor Lawrence kid. Washington at Buffalo, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Dwayne Haskins going to get the start. Dwayne Haskins is going to get the start. And this is going to be interesting because they're finally going to give him a whole week of preparation. I like the fact Callahan is doing the game plan, so you're going to see a lot of running. It's funny because I follow a lot of Buffalo social media people, and I kind of want them to calm down because they're calling themselves the best defense in the NFL. They're calling themselves Super Bowl bound, and then they lose big to Philly. I don't get me wrong. I think Buffalo, if you watch their schedule, if you look at their schedule, they got some easy games coming up before Thanksgiving. They play Dallas. They could be 9-2 when they play Dallas. It's interesting to see what they're doing. I don't think they're there yet. As much as I like Josh Allen, right now he's below average quarterback. I like Jalen Hurts also, Argo. This is the guy that, it would be funny because he's actually still in the Heisman candidate race. He had great numbers against K-State. There's a good chance that they go 11-1, and he could put up some great numbers. Remember, Baker Mayfield really didn't nail down the Heisman until he had that great game against Oklahoma State where he threw for it was 500 and some yards, and it was 6 or 7 touchdowns. And it's funny because Mason Rudolph had 450 yards and 6 touchdowns, and normally that would give you, player of the week. And would made some moves with that. Well, here's the deal with Buffalo. They love their defense, and it's young. There's a lot of young talent, and a lot of that talent was got due to the trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs got Mahomes, and the Bills are building a defense, and they're in love. If you haven't watched Tremaine Edmonds play yet, this guy is only 21 years old, and he's already a above average player. He may go to a Pro Bowl this year. This guy is just going to be amazing. Here, hold on here. I love watching this guy play because it looks like a cheat code in a video game. He's 260 playing middle linebacker. Brian Urlacher, right? He looks like a bigger version of Brian Urlacher, if you remember who that is. Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on here, Argo. Well, here's the deal with they've made some minor moves. They got rid of their number one receiver. They're a guy I think that really could have used Josh Gordon. I'm kind of surprised that they passed. But they're running the ball. They're very conservative on offense. I think Josh Allen needs to play better for them to be a legitimate threat. I think they had the playoffs listed. I think the Chiefs were the 4th seed. Buffalo would have been the 5th seed. We would kill Buffalo in the playoffs. I don't even think it'd be close because we would do enough on offense to confuse them on defense, and Josh Allen's just not playing good football right now. They're using him too much as a running back is what I think. But it's kind of funny because they're trying to model their franchise after the Panthers, and Sean McDermott came from the Panthers. Their GM was the number 2 guy in Carolina. They got a bunch of ex-Carolina Panthers. Josh Allen reminds me a lot of Cam Newton, a strong guy, bigger arm, but he's more of a runner than a passer, and they need to make him more of a passer. I think that they need to make some moves in the offseason, I think, if they want to overtake New England. But I in the 20s going forward, Buffalo has a lot to work with. But they're going to build the team through the defense and a good running game. They got Devin Singletary. They got rid of McCoy, which Chiefs fans are hating, McCoy right now. But he'll have a good game next week, and they'll love him again. So I'm not too concerned about that. Yeah, I'm drinking a lot of coffee, man. I just feel like it, man. Just drinking coffee, man. I'm looking forward to watching Haskins go to Buffalo. I think it's going to be a run-heavy offense, which is, I think, going to be good for him. Between Case Keenum and Colt McCoy, Haskins has got tons. Like it's not even close, just the athletic talent, the arm talent, but he hasn't had a chance. And I really feel bad for the guy because they're probably going to get a new coach, and he's going to have to learn a new system, and you're really going to kind of retard his progress. So I kind of feel bad for Haskins, but I'm also excited. Let's see what he can do. If I'm Washington, and I don't think they're going to do this, I actually keep the same coaching staff if Callahan can show some success, but he needs a few wins. He's only got one so far. Chicago at Philly, this is kind of funny. It's the former Kansas City Chiefs Coaches Bowl. Of course, Doug Peterson was the offensive coordinator while Matt Nagy was the quarterback's coach. And then when Peterson left for Philly, Nagy got promoted, then got the head coaching job in Chicago. Is this the time of the year where Philly turns things around? They've done it. They did the same thing last year. They're like 3-4, 3-5. Boom. They go ahead and go up. Oh yeah. By the way, if I should have said this earlier, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I'm not watching YouTube, so I have no idea. I may have all thumbs down, but don't forget to give me a thumbs up here. Let me know what's going on, man. Also, hey, listen, we talk about what you want to talk about. It's an interactive show. It's a lot better when it's back and forth. I got a script here. I'm just going over some bullet points. I could talk about each one of these games for about 10 minutes straight. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could talk 2.5 hours about football easy. I can do that standing on my head. I can't stand on my head that long, though. That's a lie. That's a lie. Big deal. But Chicago at Philly, that's going to be an interesting game. If Philly gets things going, I'm kind of excited because it's going to be good for the NFC East, and that's good for football. It really is. Even if you don't like the Eagles or the Cowboys, I'm not a fan of either team, but it's good when those two teams are neck and neck. Tennessee at Carolina. Tennessee's won 2 straight, so they're back at 4-4. They still have a legitimate chance to win the AFC South. I like this team with Mariota. I don't think he's the long-term solution, but he's sitting here and because he's going to get now think about this. You're Mariota. How excited are you? All right, you got 2 really good young receivers in Corey Davis and that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, I got Corey Davis, I got AJ Brown, and I got Derrick Henry in one of the best defenses in football. And I got 8 games. If he plays well, there's going to be a team that's going to want to give him a lot of money. There's going to be a team that's going to say, "Hey, man, we're gonna have you." There's going to be a team somewhere. So that's what I'm telling you because I think Tannehill's a guy who they completely screwed up, just like Haskins here in Washington. Because when he was with Miami, he wasn't ready to start right away. He really wasn't. They kind of pushed him into the position with the rookie coach who Hard Knocks was there. I remember they asked him and said he didn't know the divisions, he didn't know the conferences, he didn't know how any of that stuff worked. It looked like wasn't it Matt Moore? Was it Matt Moore was the quarterback there? He should have been the starter. He easily looked better, but Anyway, this is a guy who I think that there's going to be a team that's going to say, hey, Tannehill, you come here, you'll start, we'll give you a boatload of money. And so this is a good opportunity for him. Carolina, they got blown out. So are they pretenders or contenders? If they get down, it's going to be hard to come back in that NFC. I've said this over and over again. I think 10 wins is the minimum, and I think a 10-6 team in the NFC is going to be on the outside looking in this year. Huge game with huge playoff implications. Argo, man, I appreciate you working here. That's why I try to keep it family friendly. I try to keep profanity to a minimum, man. I try to keep it because I know there's people at work checking this out. So that's great. I love it. Thank you, man. I'm drinking a lot of coffee today. I'm drinking a lot of coffee. All right, afternoon games. And keep in mind, I'm going to wait till the end. We're going to talk a little more Chiefs towards the end. Again, I'm going to say this in case somebody jumped in. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Kendall Fuller, and that other guy, number 15. I'm teasing. I'm being facetious here. Patrick Mahomes, all questionable, all game day decisions. So we won't know. Afternoon games. One Pride 40. I don't know if you're still around or not, but Detroit at Oakland, a very important game for both teams. This is a must-win game for both teams. Is Oakland going into – if they lose this game, Oakland then legitimately has to look at this season as who's going to stick around, who's a Gruden guy, who's not. Because Gruden proved you're not on board with him, he will get rid of you. So is it that, or if they win this game, they're still in the wild card hunt. Detroit, they need a win. They really need a win. 10 games isn't good enough. They're 3-3-1. So if they go 3-4-1, playoffs is almost an impossibility, especially in that division. They need this win. Or they're going into the offseason. I'm a little questionable because I heard that they're shopping Slay, their number one corner. Now, keep in mind, they may not be able to get a contract for him in the offseason, but he's your best corner. So are you already looking at 2020? The loser of this game is really not mathematically you're in the playoff race, but you're really not. Hey, man, you talked about this earlier, Tampa Bay at Seattle. This is going to be a fun game. I think Seattle needs this game, and I think they're going to win, but I'm going to see how's Jameis Winston play. How is Jameis Winston a guy that Tampa Bay's 100% sold on? Because we talked about this earlier. You like Jalen Hurts. You like Jalen Hurts. I'm drawing a blank on the Wisconsin guy. You got Jake Fromm, who had high grades going into this season. I don't even know if he wants to come out now. Joe Burrow, the LSU quarterback, who I think is going to win the Heisman. Now they're saying he's going to be the first pick in the draft. What about Tua? So it'll be interesting to see with Tampa Bay. I want to see how does Jameis Winston play. Because if he looks terrible, if he looks really bad, then Tampa Bay's going, hey, we need another guy. Maybe they want Tannehill. Tannehill is a guy coming out of college, was really raw, but he had a lot of arm talent. He's got, I think, more talent than Mariota. Mariota's a much better runner. Mariota has wide receiver speed, even though Tannehill played wide receiver in college for a little bit. He's not a guy who's going to play wide receiver here in the pros. Mariota, I think, could have played wide receiver at one point in time. Right now, I think the best thing for him is just to get with another team. I would love to see him back up Mahomes. If Matt Moore doesn't want to stay, if Henny's not in the picture, can you get him cheap? That's going to be the question. If I'm Mariota, I want to go to a team where I can learn some things because I don't think he really got a good opportunity in Tennessee. But that's another topic for a different day. Here's the thing. I don't know if he's a system QB, but I'll give you the positives. Is that he's mobile, excellent teammate, and he's got a good arm. I kind of nitpicky, but few of the games I've seen him, I don't like the release. he's playing with guys. He's got several receivers on that team that are going in the first round. He's probably going to go to an NFL team with a lot less talent on the offensive side of the ball. I'm talking just pure offensive skill position. And so if I'm Miami, I don't like him at all. I mean, if I'm Miami, no, I don't like him, because you would need to add one or two receivers, a tight end, and plus some offensive line help, and that doesn't even count what you got fixed on the defense. You're not going to get that done in one draft in one offseason. As far as Bell, the Chiefs, here's what I heard is that, well, this is Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell said it was the Chiefs, Steelers, Packers, and one other team called, but due to the way his contract is, and teams didn't want to pay that much. I think also the Jets were wanting to get significant trade capital back. The Chiefs were thinking, hey, do you want to get, hey, would you trade Bell for a fourth? Maybe they could have made that work, maybe not. I don't know. But that's interesting. Is Tua probably a system quarterback? I think that, I don't know if he's a system quarterback, but I'll say this. I think it's going to be a lot tougher for him to really adapt to the pro game. And the reason why is that Alabama has so much more talent than everybody else. That's the one thing I keep talking about. Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, that defensive line was loaded last year, but look what they're doing. Now, they got a couple players that are going to be in the NFL, but it's not like Alabama. Alabama's got like 4 or 5 receivers on that roster who are going to be first-round draft picks. They got a running back who was the number 1 player in the country, who he's not having a great year, but next year he could have 2,000 yards and be a first or second round pick. He's very similar to Derrick Henry in size, not quite as good as Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry slid in the draft to the second round, so that's another thing to think about. But my rant started with how does Jameis Winston play? They don't need to win this game, but he needs to play well, because Tampa Bay's taking a good hard look at Jameis Winston. Is he really the guy for the future or not? Publicly, they said it, but I don't know if they really buy into that. Tua would be good in Tampa Bay under Arians. He would be good in Tampa Bay under Arians. I like Bruce Arians. Cleveland at Denver. Joe Flacco has been put on IR. His time in Denver's come to an end. I think that this is a guy who could start somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, but yeah, I don't know if he really wants to be a backup. I'm kind of curious what happens with Flacco, because this is a guy who I think could be a starting NFL quarterback, and I don't think he was out of line either. Normally when players speak out like this against a team, if you don't know the situation after the game, he kind of criticized the play calling, which Joe Flacco, I think, can do that. I mean, this is a guy who's won a Super Bowl. This guy's been a longtime veteran. This is a guy who I think he said it the right way, but after this happened, they put him on IR. Is his neck really injured? Is it not? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but his time in Denver is probably to an end. I would have to say after this season, I think John Elway is going to be gone as GM. Also, Cleveland is going to Denver. Brandon Allen is going to get his first start as a Denver Bronco. It'll be interesting, because I think that Denver's looking to 2020 when they get Drew Lock. They chose him in the second round. I thought he was going early first. Drew Lock's got a lot of talent. I do. I 100% agree with you. Winston was Tua's like 6'1", 215. Well, let's not go against the Chiefs, but yeah, Locks. They're waiting to. Denver's really looking to 2020. They're really waiting to 2020. Okay, an MU fan. That's awesome. I actually went to the same high school as Drew Lock, so I like Drew Lock. So anyway, I agree with you. I like Winston was a big dude. Remember EJ Manuel? The Bills took him 10th overall. One of the reasons was EJ Manuel, the rumor mill was that he left school was because they got this Jameis Winston kid that they recruited who was going to beat him out. So he decided to leave school early, and he was the 10th overall pick, and he's bounced around to several teams. I don't know if he's in the league anymore, but Winston is a big dude who had like a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Could play baseball, could have played pro baseball if he really wanted to. I just remember when they had the Hard Knocks special a couple of years ago, he just came across as really immature. He didn't really seem to be the type of guy that you could really trust. And since you went ahead and fired this longtime offensive coordinator who then became the head coach, are you talking Kyler Murray, the Arizona quarterback? If you're talking a bust, no, he had a real good game. Played really well, played a lot better than I thought he would, but I don't think that offense works. If you're talking Kyler Murray, I'm guessing that's what you're talking about, but I wouldn't call him a bust. Okay. No, he's actually played, of all the rookie quarterbacks, he's hands down played the best. Played pretty well against a very good Niners defense, but I don't think that's going to work long term, because I don't think that offense is going to work long term. And the reason why I say that is that I've watched him play a few times, and it looks like it's a pretty simple system for the most part by the NFL standards. Remember Chip Kelly? He came in for like that first season, and things really looked good. And then it just kind of the NFL caught up to him, because it's not like college where you can only work with a certain amount of time with the players. I want to say it's like 20 hours a week, but that 20 hours, I'm doing air quotes here. When you have an offense that's a college type offense, the reason why it doesn't translate into the pros is because you can find defenses against it. The thing is, what you got to understand about Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald's going to be gone soon. I don't know if it's this year or next year. They've been saying for like 5 years it's going to be his last year. He keeps playing, but they got Kenyon Drake. I don't know this. I can't remember if David Johnson's injured and he's going to come back. Not a bust, but I don't think he's going to have the same level of success that he had, in college. Keep in mind, he only played that 1 year, and I know a lot of teams were really enamored with him. I don't think a quarterback who runs as much as he does is going to play in the NFL for a long time. I think the same thing about Lamar Jackson. Cam Newton, people point to him. If he would learn to throw the ball, and that's another story about him and he's seeing a specialist. Is he going to – I think his time in Carolina is over, but they're going to build the team around him. I just don't think it's going to work. I will say this, that defense is pretty good. They got some really good players. If they build that defense and then just try to tell the offense, hey, we're just trying to get you 24 points a game. But if they try to build a team like he's built teams at Texas Tech, where they want to have a weak defense and a powerful offense that just throws the ball and then going to have Kyler Murray run, then it's going to be a huge mistake, and he'll be gone. And I don't know what happened to Kyler Murray. I don't see him having a great career in the NFL. I just don't. I think he's going to get hurt because they rely on him running the ball too much. Baker Mayfield, he throws the ball a lot better than I thought he would. The problem with the Browns, though, is that the offensive line is not very good. And I think the expectations were just completely unrealistic. Browns fans thought they were winning 12 to 14 games. They thought they were a Super Bowl contender. And this is how I thought they would be. Maybe not quite this bad. They're going to finish around 500, maybe 6 wins, maybe 7. But Baker Mayfield's a guy that he's just young, but they have problems at offensive line. They got a very inexperienced coach. They added a bunch of free agents together, and it just really hasn't panned out. A lot of people thought they were going to do the same thing as the Rams, that the Rams were a highly successful team with a good coaching staff in play. The Browns were just trying to shove a bunch of pieces together, and in the future they may be better. With Baker, I would ignore this year unless he just gets unless he just regresses terribly, a little temper tantrum. I think it's kind of a microcosm of that showing the maturity of this guy. The guy lacks some maturity. I think the Browns organization is still a bad organization, but I like what the general manager did. He put a lot of good pieces in play, but I think this is a team in 2020. It's going to be dangerous. In 2019, they're going to be about 500 team. They're going to have some good games. Excuse me, they're going to have some bad games. Baker Mayfield's a guy who's got a lot more arm talent than I thought. I don't know if I would call him sensitive, but he's definitely immature. If he is sensitive, then that's a problem. There's a lot of talent on that Browns team. I don't think they're well coached. I think the coaching. They should have had Greg Williams be the coach. They should have had Greg Williams be the coach. Instead, they went on the offensive side, and I don't think Freddie Kitchens really knows what he's doing. He was a first-time offensive coordinator last year. That was his experience. His offensive coordinator was 9 games last year. So you decided to make him the head coach instead of Greg Williams, who led you to that 5-3 record, who's been a proven coach, coordinator, and head coach. I think the Browns messed up. I really think the Browns messed up. I think Kitchens, he's going to get a chance with Baker in 2020. And if that doesn't work, I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns decide to move on from Baker Mayfield after 2020. So, yeah, cool. We're on the same page, man. But kind of talk about Cleveland and Denver. Brandon Allen, he gets his chance. I mean, he was drafted 4 years ago. He's never played. To the best of my knowledge, he's never played in an NFL game. He gets start one. It's going to be a home game. They got a good defense. They got a running game. I want to see what the kid can do. You never know. You may be looking at the next Tom Brady. As a Chiefs fan, and I'm, you're a Chiefs fan, Argo. Hopefully he sucks. But you never know when you see a player like this. Again, I think in 2020 it's going to be Drew Lock's team. But Denver's very, very excited. The backup who that he that was the reason why he went to Oklahoma. He was at Texas Tech, and then Mahomes they were like, hey, Mahomes, you want to play here? You can throw the ball all the time. You just got beat out Baker Mayfield. There's another quarterback got drafted in the 3rd round. Actually, I was really high on the guy, but he got cut by a couple teams already. He ended up playing at Cal. Can't remember his name, but Green Bay at the Chargers. This is a tough game for the Chargers, and there's probably going to be more Packers fans there. I was at Arrowhead. There was a lot of green and gold. And the cool thing is, I'm going to tell you something, Packers fans are very cool. Packers fans are extremely cool. Very happy. They were probably the nicest fans. I expect to see a lot of purple in the stands. It'll be interesting to see this game. But Green Bay at the Chargers, it'll probably feel more like a home game for Green Bay than it will for the Chargers. This is much more important to this would be much more important, I think, for the Chargers than Green Bay, because I think Kansas City wins this game. So Green Bay will go into this game knowing, hey, even if we lose, we got to gain a lead. But keep in mind, if Minnesota wins, they also know that, hey, they need to win. The Chargers, if they lose this game, they're probably going into 2020 thinking fire sale. Keep in mind, they still got 2 games against Kansas City. So even with a loss mathematically, they're still in the running because they have two games against Kansas City. But realistically, they lose this game and they're out. I agree with you. The only thing I'm going to tell you is I think the Raiders going forward are going to be very good. And then I'm interested when the Chargers get their stadium built, how they're going to be. But the whole AFC West, except for the Chargers, tends to be trending upwards. The reason why I say the Chargers is because once Rivers leaves, and it's really just a matter of time, it could be this offseason. once Rivers leaves, that team could be going drastically downhill. The defense hasn't played as well. There's problems in the offensive line. Melvin Gordon hasn't looked good. And Keenan Allen, when healthy, is as good as anybody, but he's never been able to stay healthy. So I think that all three of these teams are going in the right direction. I don't know about the Chargers. It's Chargers window closed. I mean, they went 12-4 last year, and I wasn't sure how they would do this year. I said at the very beginning when I was breaking them down, if Melvin Gordon's on that team, they got a chance, but he's on the team late, and he hasn't played like the franchise running back. He wanted Le'Veon Bell money. He's not even playing like Blake Bell. So, I wonder if I've always wondered if is Derek Carr a guy for Gruden or not, but he hasn't played bad. He really hasn't. The Raiders are really running the ball a lot more than they have. And the Raiders, even though their system is very, very similar to Andy Reid's, it's more run heavy. Gruden wants to run the ball a lot more. Jacobs is an excellent running back. It sucked that he went to the Raiders. And then don't forget their first-round pick, Abram. He was out the whole year. He's going to play next year. I think if healthy, he's going to be a force. That Klein Farrell kid, it's funny because they chose him 4th overall. They got Max Williams in the 4th round. Max Williams has played better so far. But I've always been curious if the Raiders are really sold. One thing about the Raiders is that Gruden likes a veteran quarterback. I could see a kid like Mariota if he's willing to take a decent contract. I wouldn't be surprised if Carr left the Raiders. I really wouldn't. But for right now, I think he's been playing pretty well. Sunday night, a lot of people got this game circled. It's New England at Baltimore. This is a very interesting game because you have one of the great – currently, if you're looking at pure numbers, the best defense we've seen since the 85 Bears in New England going against a very, very creative offense. They do. They do. But Gruden – okay. Gruden's always been a guy – who's liked veterans. And he's always been this way. When he got promoted to offensive coordinator in Philly, he was the guy who benched Randall Cunningham for Bubby Brister. Bubby Brister was a longtime starter for Pittsburgh, got benched, was the backup there in Philly, and Gruden made a very controversial decision, and he went with Brister instead. And then remember, he gets the head coaching job in Oakland. What does he do? He goes after journeyman Rich Gannon. I think this guy likes journeyman players. That's why I think Marcus Mariota is more his type of – I'm sorry, not Marcus Mariota. Ryan Tannehill is more his type of guy. I could see him going. I don't think Marcus Mariota has his personality, but I think Tannehill could have his type of personality. I think Tannehill's a guy who was a starter, been benched. I think if he looks good, and keep in mind, I don't know the specifics of Carr's contract, but I don't think that's still a match married together. I don't know if Carr's really his type of guy, but it'll be interesting to see. This is going to be a fun game because it's in Baltimore. And Baltimore has a real unconventional offense. They got this quarterback who's more of a running back, and I don't think it's going to work long term. It's a sore spot for me too, brother. It's a sore spot for me too. But here's the thing, though. Baltimore has a very creative offense. All right, it's going to be a run heavy offense. One thing that New England's set up for is that they're set up to beat you in the pass. They got Stephen Gilmore, who they put on the number 1 receiver. In Kansas City, I watched him go one-on-one with Kelsey. So, who's it going to be with Baltimore? Hollywood Brown's been out, so is he going to be covering Brown the whole game? Is he going to cover one of those tight ends? Baltimore, if they're smart, are going to try to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball a lot. This is going to be a fun game. Baltimore, if they win, they're in really good shape for a bye. I think Pittsburgh wins that division. I really do. I think Pittsburgh's playing some good ball. They have a good game. They're going to play Indianapolis. You heard me say it. They're going to beat Indianapolis. I don't know if Baltimore can get it done, but hopefully they can. And the reason why I say that is because I still think Kansas City's trying for a bye. I don't know if it's better if you just go ahead and concede the number 1 seed to New England and then hope Kansas City gets the 2 seed. If Baltimore wins this game, that number 1 seed's wide open. Kansas City still got a chance, even with 3 losses. So Sunday night's going to be a great, great game. I'm really excited to see what happens. And here's another thing. If New England shuts Baltimore out, are people going to watch how New England shut them down? Or people are going to say, hey, this is how you beat New England. Watch what Baltimore did, but very few teams have a running quarterback. So that's also going to be interesting. But Sunday night's going to be a great game. I'm really excited. Normally, if the Chiefs play a noon game, if they lose, I'm like kind of watching the other games. I'm like, I'm going to be excited about this game, even if the Chiefs lose. But I don't think they are. I think Chiefs are going to win this Sunday. So I'm always more excited to watch other teams, especially if we got Mahomes that comes back. Game time decision. If you tuned in late, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Kendall Fuller, and that number 15 guy, Patrick Mahomes, all game time decisions. All game time decisions. All right. And the last game I'm going to break down. We'll talk a little more about the Chiefs, but Monday Night Football, Dallas at New York. Now, New York's got Saquon Barkley back. Leonard Williams, after trade, he is going to play. It'll be interesting how he incorporates with that defense. Shepard, he was out. He's going to play. And this game's really, really important because Shermer is on the hot seat. You can't go 4-12 2 years in a row in New York. Not the Giants, the Jets maybe, but not the Giants. And they've had multiple losses. I know you got a rookie quarterback. So this is a huge game. This will be a fun game. I'm actually excited about this one. I don't have a dog in the fight. Dallas, I think, will win that division, but this could be a game that they lose. I want to see how New York plays because I was really high on Daniel Jones coming out of Duke. This was a guy that I thought this guy would need to go to a system. I think this guy's a system quarterback. Doesn't have a great arm, has a good arm. He's athletic, really accurate, and I think that they're going to do some good things. I don't know if Shermer's going to stay around or not. That's going to be an interesting story because you can't – right now they got 2 wins. You can't be that bad in New York. You can't be that bad. So that's just something that, I'm kind of paying attention to. It's going to be a fun game. But Chiefs, Vikings, I'm going to tell you this right now. I mean, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Kendall Fuller, one of these guys has to play. Hopefully on that defensive line, hopefully we can get both of these guys back. One of the weaknesses of Minnesota is that offensive line, even though if they get up and they're just able to run the ball, that's going to be a problem. And keep in mind, if they can get that running game going, they have play action pass. Thielen is also a game time decision. A lot of game time decisions in this game. I do like Kansas City in this game. I really do like Kansas City in this game. I think that defense will match up decently. I don't see us shutting out Minnesota, but I think we can win the battle up front, and that's huge. Passanio, I think, has been playing really good. I think he had 2 sacks in the game against Green Bay, and they used him at different positions. This is a guy who's really coming on. This guy could have a huge game. Passanio could have a huge game, even if he doesn't get sacks. You want to go ahead and get Cousins off his spot. You don't want to make him comfortable. The way really to beat Minnesota is even though Cousins has been playing really well, is you want to make Minnesota one-dimensional where they're throwing the ball a lot, and they're throwing the ball a lot because you can get after Cousins. I think Cousins is a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he's not Rodgers. All right? And the defense, this is a team built on a really good defense. The defense hasn't been playing that good. It really hasn't. This is a defense I thought would be one of the best defenses in football. They're not. They're playing slightly above average. I think they're a little better than Green Bay's defense, but how many people thought that Green Bay had Green Bay's defense was scary. I didn't feel that way. I felt like I was looking at a middle of the pack defense. I do Uber, and I gave a couple Packers fans a ride. It was like a 30-minute drive, and all those guys, very knowledgeable, really good sports fans. They all felt they had a top 10 defense. I don't. I would have told you before the season, Minnesota definitely has a top 10 defense. From what I've seen, I'm not really sure. I'm really not that sure. The one thing is that Harrison Smith is wow, he's probably the best safety in football. The thing is about him, he likes playing in the box. Don't get me wrong, he can make plays. It seems like you can throw against this Vikings defense. I don't see a vicious pass rush. They seem stout against the run, but Kansas City's not going to run the ball. So I think even with Matt Moore, we're going to move the ball offensively because it looked like what the Kansas City Chiefs do is they script the first 15 plays. And for those, I remember like it wasn't until like play 12 or 13 because I remember the first two drives were 3 and out. It really looked like the Chiefs' offense was just non-existent. Remember, we got down 14-0. But then once we got out of that first 15 plays, things really kick-started. And one thing about Andy Reid, he's always been good at adapting. So I really feel good about this game. But yeah, I want to see Mahomes play. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I want to see Mahomes play. So that's how I feel about it. So I'm very excited about this game. I'm predicting a Chiefs victory. I'm predicting a Steelers victory at home over Indianapolis. And a third victory, I'm predicting Miami. Miami gets its first win of the year against the Jets. So yeah, man, I got 3 bold predictions. 3 bold predictions. So listen, man, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna wrap this up a little early. You guys have been great. The comments have been awesome. Argo, man, listen, man. Hopefully you're out of work soon. Been a pleasure. Much appreciated the comments. You got some great stuff here, so thank you very much. Listen, if you're new to my channel, you're already, or let me I messed that all up. Listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrew's Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But if you're new to my channel and you haven't done so already, you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a subscribe button right down here. See it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Wait till Tuesday. We'll see if my predictions come true. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Tuesday.